Hello everyone, my name is Renaud Bouguin and I'm presenting a paper titled Novice Users Evaluation of Two Multi-Track Music Machine, Usability, User Experience, and Acceptance. So in recent years, we've seen an explosion in CAC systems built for a variety of interactive use and context. We've also observed that LLM-based CAC systems, due to their opaque behavior at times, pose interaction challenges. So as CAC systems become accessible to lay user, this study seeks to understand the user adoption. In particular, we focus on symbolic multi-track music systems, and we focus on the MMM model, short for multi-track music machine. So our research question broke down into three constructs: usability, user experience, and technology acceptance. In usability, we measure controllability and creativity support. In user experience, we measure things like trust, flexibility, authorship, and challenges. And in technology acceptance, we measure perceived ease of use, perceived usefulness, and predicted future use, which are the construct of that measurement. So focusing on novice users, we chose the arrangement task. This task, the user are given a single track, typically a drum track, and they have to add new tracks to the piece to complete the song. So we focused on MMM-Cubase version 2 and Calliope, which are two systems which embeds the MMM model. For participants, we broke down the Novice group based on two dimensions, creative intent and musical experience. So we have the early explorers, which are driven by curiosity, and maybe they want to make music and they've been thinking about making music, but they never really tried it. The enthusiasts, which are eager, they are driven by trying new tools. The beginners, which have some experience making music. Typically, they've started songs in the past, but they've never finished them. And the experienced, which will be characterized by having more experience with making music and probably having completed one or two projects. And then we group those categories into two main groups, which we call the early novice and the skilled novice. So the early novice characterized by being aspiring and curious, and the skilled novice being more developing and achieving. So for the new model we use the MMM model, which generates new musical content, taking into account vertical and horizontal information in the musical canvas, and also the instrumentation. We can see on the image on the right that based on in feeling, which is the interaction style the model is designed to provide. It takes if we want to, for example, replace a guitar section on channel 5 here, it's going to take into account the drum section and the piano section and also in the guitar section what comes before and after in order to generate the content. So the MMM model is trained on the MetaMIDI dataset designed for versatile and rich multi-level control. And the latest version of this model, which is the MIDI GPT, is trained on the GigaMIDI dataset. So MMM-Cubase is, we embedded the MMM model inside the Cubase software. We can see the plugin there on the right with semantic parameters such as gender, choosing between polyphony and monophony for generation, duration, density, repetition, and craziness. So let's see a demo of the plugin. So this was also representative of the type of work that the novice users had to complete, involving creating chords or creating solos to their liking. So the second system that we focused on is the Calliope system, which is a web application that interfaces the MMM model, and that is based on infilling batch generation, where the user can generate multiple examples for the same request. And it also allows for automatic ranking of generated pieces, where the user can automatically rank generated pieces according to their similarity in order to guide further decisions. So we can see a demo of the Calliope system here on the Mozart Piano Sonata. So in terms of demographic for the study, for the MMM-Cubase model, we had 39 participants. Um, in terms of self-reported musical experience, they were about average, certainly much lower than our previous study with experts. And 35 out of 39 had no experience with Cubase, and also most had no experience with before with using music AI systems. Similarly, for Calliope, we had 59 participants. The self-reporting musical experience was about the same. Um, 30 out of 59 had no experience with DAWs, and most had no prior experience with music AI systems. And so, in terms of finding for usability, we found that most the standard usability score were generally acceptable, except for MMM-Cubase for early novice, which was below the acceptance level. This is also shown by the fact that Calliope was statistically more usable than MMM-Cubase for the early novice group. In general, 25.6% of novice users reported being overwhelmed by the Cubase software. In terms of controllability, we found generally measuring both ease of control and would like more control, whether the user would like more control using like a scale, that interfaces offer sufficient control. So the semantic parameters that we provided were sufficient for users to create music to their liking. There was a lot of flexibility. However, the user wanted more control. They felt there were a lack of depth of control, where in terms of control of chord structure or rhythm, more advanced control, we would say. For the creativity support index, we found overall that user were able to explore their creativity. They found using the system generally enjoyable. Expressiveness was the lowest performing metric in this category, similar to previous studies. And results worth effort was also acceptable, which measures the sort of whether the users were sort of happy with the result versus the effort that they've put in. In terms of user experience, um, key themes that we identify were idea starter. User found that the system helped them start ideas and gave them new ideas to run with. Something that was interesting compared to experts was that user found that the system helped them structure their workflow and be more efficient, having no experience or minimal experience with making music. It was useful in that way. In that way, they also found that there was minimal authorship on their side. They felt the system typically had more contribution to the creation because it was able at times to even compose melodies or harmonies that the novice users wouldn't have thought about or didn't feel they were capable of doing. Repeated generation was also a recurring theme where sometimes the user had to generate multiple times to get what they wanted. And musical diversity concern were raised in terms of user recognizing that dependency on this type of system meant they were not doing as much work, and also that the result would, over time, sort of average it out. So in terms of technology acceptance model, we generally found positive results. 76.9% of novices um, communicated they would use the MMM-Cubase V2 in the future versus 72.9% for Calliope. And so in general, the usability results were on par with the previous study for experts for the first system. Even if in the first system, MMM-Cubase version 1, we only had one parameter, which was the temperature parameter. But both systems showed great ease of use in this case. The shortcoming on controllability, authorship, and trust does prevent human flourishing and is a significant space of improvement, and as we see today across AI systems in general. The acceptance results indicate that there remains challenges such as depth of control, model transparency that impacts the user perceived sense of future use. Thank you.